We have a massive update on Chris Jericho and his status with AEW as Tony Khan has finally weighed in on the first ever AEW champion's future with the company. We also are going to take a look at the AEW All Out versus the WWE WrestlePalooza ticket sales as they stand right now today. And as I'm sure all of you are awaiting, we are going to talk about the big story that everyone wants to weigh in on, and that, of course, is the big merger potentially between WBD and Paramount, a company that is in partnership, by the way, with TKO. All that and much more coming up right here in this news video, so be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm Big Omer Q. Let's dive right in. All right, so first things first, let's talk about this Chris Jericho situation. As many of you know, it has been reported by Fightful Select, by PW Insider, multiple sources by this point, that Chris Jericho's contract is reportedly up very soon. There's been speculation about the exact date. However, end of year 2025 seems to be what everyone is generally agreeing with, meaning that there's been rampant speculation about Jericho potentially joining WWE. And you might be asking yourself, why, oh, why would Chris Jericho not stay with the company that he's been a part of the past couple of years? Why would he leave AEW? First ever AEW champion, cornerstone of the company, all that stuff. And the answer is truly that many people believe that Chris Jericho is over the hill, that there is nothing left for him to do in AEW. And personally, I kind of agree. I kind of feel like Jericho's done as much as he possibly can in this iteration, and barring another insane character refresh that we just do not see coming, I don't think he's going to get there. Fact of the matter is, Jericho has reset his character the past couple of years, and unlike in the past with the Painmaker, hell, with the Wizard or any of that stuff, it has not worked recently. Look at the stuff that he did with Sammy Guevara, in All Out 2023 leading up to that show. Look at the latest iteration of his stables in the Learning Tree. It has just not been good stuff. So everyone was wondering, what does Tony Khan have to say? Tony's been pretty quiet about it. There's been speculation that he's out on Jericho. Well, in an interview today, Khan said the following, this on Torg and Elliott. Quote, Chris Jericho has been here since the very beginning. I have so much great respect for Chris Jericho. I would love to have Chris Jericho in AEW anytime. We absolutely want Chris Jericho back in AEW, hopefully soon. He's been great with us and been with us since the first event, the very first AEW champion, and Chris is a huge part of history in AEW and is still in great shape and a great wrestler. Well, we can disagree on that very last thing that he just said, but regardless of where you stand on Jericho and his wrestling ability, the fact remains that Chris Jericho is a household name. One of the main reasons why AEW was able to get off the ground was because of Jericho and his ability to garner attention in the way that he did. He was that big name that AEW really needed in the beginning to help bolster that company. But fast forward a couple of years later, he is far from the best character, far from the best wrestler. And you might be wondering why Tony would say this if he is potentially thinking about moving on from him. Well, it's one of two things. Either he's not moving on from him and he's just like, yeah, no, Jericho's not going anywhere. Or he's doing this and saying this stuff out of respect. Jericho's contract is still on the books for the next couple of months. It does not behoove Tony to tell people exactly what he's going to do. It does not make sense for him to say publicly in an interview that he is going to he's going to not renew the contract of someone who's been there since the beginning. And honestly, they probably haven't even gotten to that point. So Anyway, Tony Khan, though, the first ever comment we've had about him and this contract situation, and that is what he had to say. Now let's take a quick look over at the AEW versus WWE WrestlePalooza ticket sales. So obviously, the way that this has been playing out, WrestlePalooza was announced the same day as AEW All Out, and it was originally supposed to go head-to-head, and that is now not happening. Instead, AEW moved their show back to 3 p.m., and we got WrestlePalooza, which is going to start at around like 7 or 8. But we have the WrestleTix number. Drum roll, please. There it is. WrestleTix number for WrestlePalooza, WWE WrestlePalooza in Indianapolis. They are at 10,166. The current setup right now, as you can see here, is for 12,000 or just over 12,000. And if we take a quick look over at the AEW All Out number of where they currently stand as of just earlier today, you can see that it's pretty freaking similar, guys. Almost on the freaking nose. Indeed, it is pretty much on the nose. 10,000, here it is, 10,243. Set up for 11,300. So AEW is currently set up for less than WWE, but the ticket distributed number slightly higher. Obviously, AEW has had a longer road to sell tickets than WWE has with this, but I would expect the final ticket sale number to be relatively in the same ballpark. I think over the next few weeks, you are going to see WWE or next few shows, I should say, they're going to really ramp up the promotion for this, and they're going to try to make this as big as possible. They're going to talk about celebrities. I think this show, WrestlePalooza, is about to have a Netflix on Raw on Netflix, debut type vibe. And I think that's going to be one of the big selling points of the show, as it is the first show that they are having of this ilk in the ESPN app. So they definitely want to maximize that. AEW, though, they're going to try to, I think, sell really hard the point of the big Toronto return of Edge and Christian, and I think that is going to be a major selling point there. Lastly, I do want to quickly touch on this big piece of news that is really catching wind or catching fire. Catching wind is crazy. I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, but this piece of news is really catching fire over on the Twitter machine. We got Paramount preparing a bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, according to the Wall Street Journal. The significance of this, obviously, WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, has been in partnership with AEW ever since the beginning of that company. And now we know that Paramount is in partnership with TKO. A potential merger could spell a lot of things, depending on how it goes down for AEW in their future. And I'm going to be quite honest, it could very well mean that AEW might not get renewed. Like, I'm not trying to be doomer. Obviously, we have no idea what the structure of a potential bid is. And this is like they are preparing a bid. There are several different layers that they would have to go through in order to place this bid legitimately, and for it to go through and for that to be a reality. But the fact that they're preparing a bid is something I'm telling you that people all over wrestling media, all over wrestling Twitter, and all over in these wrestling companies are definitely going to have their eye on. And I'm going to have my eye on all of you wonderful people in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think about this. Be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm Omer Q, Big Om. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.